Questions go money very honor. Happiness, a very simple word, but the most complicating to achieve. Ist it, people work so hard for zoekers, money recognition, but very few people wake up in the morning and say, Betode, I will work hard to be happy. Let me ask you a question. What do you do when you phone a battery goes down to 10%? You panic. You run to find a charger, but when you oven mit battery is down to 10%, do you run to charger it? Or do you just keep scrolling Instagram? We taken more kare wo gadget staan or happiness. Once a ristions business man went to a Seint and Zeit. We have a in kas. Bonanofs, money boot I am not happy questions. It is Seins milet and asked him, but if you have everything, wo are you here the man Zeit, and because something is missing. Question replete. But what is missing is not to see the you is inside you. You are chasing happiness, but happiness is not something to be chased, it is something to be chosen. A happiness is a muscle think about it. Questions. When you want to build your physical muscles, what do? You push yourself, lift weights, practice daily. Similarly, right? Happiness is also a muscle. You must push yourself every day to build it. Otherwise, just like muscles, it becomes werk. Wesweins, we say, questions, I will be happy when I get promoted. I be happy when I get married. I will be happy when my ME is over. The truth is, if you are no happy before these things, you won't be happy after temaita. There is a Native American story about a grandfather telling his grandson, Tenzide a very human. Questions. There are two wolves fighting. One wolf is negativity, sadness and a jealousy. The other wolf is positivity, kindness, gratitude, questioniness. The boy asks which wolf wins. Grandfather replies, but the owner you fate. Every day when you wake up, you decide which wolf you will fate. Questions. Happiness is a muscle. Just like the muscles in your body, if you don't train it, it becomes werk. If you don't use it, questions, it loses strength. And if you never push yourself, you will always wonder who others look stronger, more positive, and more fulfilled will you fail drainate. Think about this when someone wants to get physically fit. Questions. They don't use it at home wishing for 6-pack ups. They go to the gym, they sweat. They lift. They push through pain, through laziness, through excuses. Slowly their body transforms. Happiness works the exact same way. Questions. If you want to be emotionally and mentally fit, you cannot sit around and wait for life to magically give you. You have to build it on a small effort at a time. Let me give you an example from daily life. Imagine it's a Monday morning. Questions. You open your eyes, your alarm rings. The first thought that comes to your mind is, oh no, the weekend is over. I have to fuck office again. No pause here. What are you doing? Questions. You're lifting away every emotional weight, the weight of negative thoughts. And just like in the gym, if you feel start lifting weights, it feels painful. But if you push yourself to lift different, if you say instead, I am grateful I have a job to go to, I am grateful I have a colleagues, I have a proposal. Questions. I have a thought because of this job you are training the muscle of happiness. Most people think happiness comes naturally. No. Questions. For most, unhappiness comes naturally because the mind has a default mode of complaining, worrying, comparing. Questions. If you don't push against that resistance, you stay stuck in weakness. That's why happiness requires training. Think of someone training for a marathon. They don't wake up on a day run suddenly 42 kilometers. They start small. First questions, km yoke, 10-2 km. Slowly they increase. In the same way, you cannot suddenly transfer your minds overnight. Questions. But if you push yourself every day, maybe breathing on a thing you are grateful for, by finding on a reason to smile. Questions. By stopping on a complaint, you are adding strength to your happiness muscle. No let me share a small story. Questions. A friend of mine once told me he felt so tired, so negative, so drained every day. I asked him, do you exercise? Questions. The yes ego to the goom. Iteni askete do you extra kisse you meant for happiness. Ehelauket and zij questions. Wat do you mean, izai to you do push-ups for your chest. Squats for your legs. But what do you do for your happiness? Questions. Hof do you train it had no answer. That's exactly the problem. Questions. We spend so much fortbilding over external muskelmus, ignores important muscle the muscle of your. And let's be honest, questions, trainability is not easy. Just like in the gagooms, you domitiments fail like working out. Zometimus the weight fails so heavy. For example, when you boss creaky you and finally, the easy thing is to be ups all day. Jones. But if you push yourself, if you tell yourself this is our chance to improve, questions, our chance to practice patience that's happiness workout. Or when traffic is stuck for an hour, you could sit and complain. Or you could see the time to listen to our podcast, kalla lovet ohne, or practice zilenke. Tat pushis wat build strength, questions. Imagine so me ohne saying you'll go to the gym when I already have a muscles. Is that foolish? Questions. Yet of us people treat happiness. They say they will be happy when he get promoted, when he buy a house, when he get married. Questions. When everything is perfect. But perfection never comes. If you wait for muscles before exercising, you'll never get them. Questions. And if you wait for happiness before practicing happiness, you'll never fail it. Questions. Another example maniavus wake upante feasting vedo is hexokial media. Velucat zomeones vacation photos, zomeones expensive car, zomeones perfect family picture. Antimediately we fail werk in zide. Because we are fading wrong muscular comparison. Instead, questions. What if the first 5 minutes of your morning were spending of trade blessings your life? Questions. You'd be exercising of gratitude, which automatically strengthens the muscle of happiness. Even small things matter. Questions. Smingata stronger appreciating your family. Questions. Causing to act with your in stress alteza are like lifting small dumbbells. They may look small, but over time, questions, they build your inner strength. Late may give you on a more perspective. When you stop exercising, what happens to your body? You lose a fitness. In the same way, if you stop using self for happiness, you slip back into negativity. Questions. Happiness is not permanent, it requires maintenance. Every day you must show up for your mind like you show up for your body. So remember, happiness is not automatic, it's not free and it's not a one-time event. It is a daily discipline. Every morning, questions. You must ask yourself what I do today to train my happiness, because the stronger your happiness muscle becomes. Question lighter every burden of life fails. And here is the magic. When you build this muscle, you don't just become stronger for yourself. Chance. You come strong enough to lift out the store. Your smile kan help on a bad day. Your positivity can inspire your team. Questions. Your laughter can lighten your family's mood. Just like a strong person in the gym inspires others, a strong happy person inspires the world. So push yourself, start small. Do own a rap of gratitude, own a rap of kindness. Questions. Own rap of forgiveness. Rap it daily. And then you'll discover that happiness is not so making you shazi, it's so making you yield. On a push at a time. Gratitude is the breakfast for happiness. We breakfast. Questions. Because us breakfast gives us energy to body at the start of the day, gratitude gives us energy to you mind and heart. Yes, without breakfast you feel werk tirate and unmotivated. Without gratitude you feel empty, dissatisfied and restless. Questions. Think about how most of us start mornings, the alarmings, and the first thought is usually a complaint, oh no, it's too early. Sions, Mori den sleep enough. Mori have so much work today. Before we even step out of bed, we are already fading our minds with negativity. Questions. That's like getting young thought the very first thing in the morning heat ruins the rest of the day. But what if you shang this? Questions. What if you made gratitude your very first meal of the day? before you touch you phone, before you worry about work. Questions, you and whisper thank you. In thank you for anota breat, anazundrisse, anota chance, it sounds so small. Boot eat zets the toner. It's like pouring fresh, healthy fuel into your mentale engine. Let me share a small example. Sions I was traveling by train and the person next to me was constantly grumbling. He complained about the Zeat, about the fort, about the delay, about the noise. Everything was a problem. Finally, es geht himekani excuse meeting. Do you realize that we are sitting in Amahitat is moving at 100 kilometers per hour. Questions. Carrying across the country while we are comfortably seated. In start amatsing. 100 years ago, people would have to walk or talk about cuts for dice. And here we are traveling in our 5 hours. A pause and Zeit. Tions. I never thought about it like that. Questions. It is the different gratitude markers it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. In daily life, gratitude can be practiced everywhere. You wake up in your bed, say thank you for the roof over your head. Questions. You drink your morning tea at the farmer wo grave the leaves, the worker wo packet eat, the shopkeeper wo salt eat. Questions. You go to work thank the people wo built the roads, the technology that allows you to work. The people around you wo make life possible. We take these blessings for granted, but when you pause to notice them, questiones muscle grow stronger instantly. Now you may ask, but is gratitude so powerful happiness because human nature has a tendency to focus on lack? No matter how much we have questions, the mint always says you'll be happy a little more. You get a new phone, you enjoy it for 2 days. Questions, and then suddenly solved because so me own else bought a better model. This cycle never ends. Gratitude break starts cycle. Questions, it teaches you to enjoy what you already have instead of crying over what you don't. Let me share another story. Jones, a friend once complained I'm so tired of my small apartment. It feels suffocating. I told him to come with me. Questions. I went to Aslam area nearby, where 5 people were living in a teeny room. They were smiling, laughing, cooking together. Questions. I asked my friend Onof tell me, is your apartment still small? His perspective shifted. Questions. Gratitude does always change your situation, but each changes how you say it and that marks all the different. Questions. Gratitude is also like antidote to stress. For example, suppose you're stuck in traffic. The natural reaction is irritation. Questions. But why is this happening to me? But what if instead you say at least I have a car to sit in? At least I'm safe. At least I can use this time to listen to something uplifting. I suddenly what was a stressful moment becomes a manageable ohne. Questions. Gratitude does erase problems, but it gives you strength time with a lighter head. Here is a simple daily practice. Questions. Before you sleep, write down 3 things you were grateful for that day. They don't have to be big. Questions. It could be a smile from a stranger, a tasty meal, as a positive word from a friend. Questions. The act of reading focus your mind to say for positivity. Over time, this habit rewires your brain. Questions. Instead of automatically complaining, your mind starts automatically noticing blessings. And remember, questions. Gratitude is not only about what we have, also about what you don't have. If you are healthy, questions, be grateful you are not in the hospital. If you had a safe unit, be grateful nothing went wrong. Questions, if you love a honest returned home safely, be grateful for their present. Questions, sometimes the biggest blessings are the problems you never had to face. Let me give you a last example. Questions, have you ever noticed how children are naturally happier than adults? View. Because they live with gratitude. A child can't be happy with our balloon, with our candy, with our simple game. They don't overthink, they don't compare. Post questions, they don't show affection, they simply enjoy what they have. That is the essence of gratitude. And when we lose it as adults, we lose happiness. So gratitude truly is the breakfast for happiness. Start your day with eat. Fate only truku the day questions. And then your day with eat. You don't need to white formatting extraordinary to happen. You spying alive, buying able to breate, buying able to say to walk, to hear, to think is a miraculous way ignore every day. Gratitude opens your eyes to tame. And when you practice gratitude, happiness is not something you need to say for anymore. It naturally flows into your heart. Questions. Gratitude is easily already have any blessed. And in this very moment, I cause it to be happy. Etat koike, mada daily is what transforms life. Questions wie hoe. Focus on what's in control. This one principle alone can't save you from tara mui ferncham of your daily stress. Hoe post questions wie hoe. Most of us spend our minute worrying about things that are far beyond our reach. We fight battles that don't belong to us. We post questions wie hoe. We cry over situation we can't change, and in that process, we lose the strength to handle. The things we actually can't control. Post questions hoe. Think out how many times have you got hung and angry about the weather. It's too hot rainy, too hot cold. But tell me honestly, hoe post questions wie hoe. Has your anger ever changed the weather? No, all it did was spoil your mood. Imagine instead if you said you are saw it's rain, post questions wie hoe. Let me carry an umbrella and enjoy their freshness. Here saw the wisdom. That's the power of focusing on what is in your control. Questions wie hoe daily life gives us countless examples. Picture yourself stuck in traffic. Cars ahead or in a car in a there. The signal refuses to turn green. Questions wie hoe. And your meeting is about to start. What's almost people so? They hit the steering wheel, curse their government, post questions wie hoe, and keep checking their clock every 30 seconds. But ask yourself, can you make their signal turn green? Post questions wie hoe. Can you magically clear the road? You cannot. What you owe us how can you us how cool is how you respond. You can't just sit down, play some music. Questions wie hoe. Listen to our podcast or even use the time to breathe deeply and relax. That choices is in your control. Wie hoe. Post questions with a jur. And that choice decides when he is miserable or manageable. Here's another situation. Post questions wie hoe. Suppose your boss criticizes you unfairly in front of others. Now can you control what he says? No. Can you troll his mood? Post questions wie hoe. His words is perception. Not always. But you yourself control your action. You can either carry that insult for the entire day. Wie hoe post questions wie hoe. Replaying it in your mind beoka enano record you can't decide. You will learn what he can, turn necessary, and more on. Questions wie hoe. You might not control what enters your ears, but you can absolutely control what stays in your heart. Let me share our short story. Questions wie hoe. Our farmer once complained to our God, you're a sauber so you control the weather. Zvemete pau to decide te soon and rain for me crops. Questions wie hoe. Here sao God smiled and said, you're a sao to like, cheat for a season. Here sao te farmer ordered sunshine when he wanted, rain whenever he felt. Wie hoe post questions wie hoe. And gentle winds whenever asked, is crop beautifully tall, green, strong. At harvest time, however, questions wie hoe was not inside este aile caeras. He cried Uasau, and happened how God replied. Questions wie hoe. You are son who gave your crops everything they wanted, but you never gave them challenges to storm, to wind. Post questions wie hoe. To harsh conditions that make roots strong. Without tosse your crops look good outside but are empty inside. Irasau, this is life. Questions wie hoe. We want to control everything so that nothing challenges us. Wie hoe. Post questions wie hoe. But sometimes the very things we cannot control are the ones that grow stronger. Instead of wasting energy fighting questions wie hoe, focus on what you are can you are. Now let's be practical. How do we actually apply this? We post questions wie hoe. Begin by asking yourself in any stressful situation, how is this in me control? How if the answer is no zopit. For example, questions wie hoe. You can't control the stock market. You cannot control what people gossip about you. Hoe. Post questions wie hoe. You cannot control whether someone likes you or not, but you can't control your spending habits, your integrity, wie hoe, your attitude toward people. Post questions wie hoe. Shifting focus from the uncontrollable to the controllable is like switching on our light in our dark zone. You suddenly see possibilities instead of. Post questions wie hoe. Take relationships as another example. You cannot control your partner's mood every day. Wie hoe. Post questions wie hoe. You cannot control your child's choices all the time, but you can't control your patience, your communication. Questions vihue. And tell over you bring into te relationship. When you focus on these, relationships blossom. Vihue, post questions vihue. When you cheat or control the other person, frustration takes over. Even in health, the same principle applies. Post questions vihue. You cannot control every illness or genetic factor, but you can't control your diet, your exercise, your sleep. You fast vihue, post questions vihue. And even when sick comes, you can't control your or suffer twice, once physically and once mentally. Vihue, post questions vihue. Or torso once with courage. Many people spend years their lives sighing, "User sao if only me past had been different." Questions vihue. It would be happy tozai, eo sao but tell me can you change the past? It's wood of your controls. Hue post questions vihue. What you can't control is you interpret, how you learn from it, how you use those lessons to build your future. Questions vihue. Te past is our closed book, but te pen for writing toza is still in your hand. Here's our simple mental trick. Questions vihue. Whenever your mind is restless, lists to columns on paper, but things he can't control and but things he cannot control. You'll be surprised. Vihue post questions vihue. The second list is usually longer, but it's also the list you should stop worry about. The first list might be shorter. Vihue post questions vihue. That's where your true power lies. Focus, peace will multiply. Think of life like sailing a boat. Question vihue is, you cannot control wind, te waves or te storms. But you can't control how you set your sails, how you steer your boat. Post questions of mine. You put some mind, you put people fight te waves and zone in frustration. Vihue post questions vihue. Other just their sails and reach their destination. Both face their same ocean difference is where they focused. Questions vihue. Remember this. So when you waste energy on what you cannot control, you lose the strength to act on what you can't. Vihue post questions severe. But when you shift focus, life becomes lighter, calmer, happier. You don't need the world to change for you to be peaceful. Questions vihue. You only need to master the art of focusing on your circle of control. That's the secret. That's the discipline. Post questions vihue. Focus on what's in control, and happiness will stop being an accident. It will become your daily choice. Due, post questions vihue. Happiness multiplies when shared. This is one of the most beautiful truths of life. When you keep happiness within yourself, who may post vihue questions vihue. It stays small. When you share with our smile, with our kind word, with our act of service, it expands. Questions vihue. It lights up not only your life, but also the lives of everyone around you. Think of fire. Vihue post questions vihue. If you take our burning candle and use it to lighter the candle, the flame doesn't become smaller. Instead, there are now two flames. Post questions vihue. Use tose to light ten moze, and suddenly te whole zom is glowing. Happiness works exactly the same way. When you zved away, vihue post questions vihue. It doesn't decrease, increases. Let's look at daily life. Imagine you're walking into your episode. You're in a rush, stressed. Questions vihue. Thinking about deadlines. You see the receptionist and just walk past without saying a word. That's normal, right? Those questions vihue. But imagine instead you pause for your seconds and say, good morning. How are you? The tiny act changes everything. Post questions vihue. For the receptionist, it might be the only warm greeting they receive all day. For you, it costs nothing, but it creates connection. Post questions vihue. The little gesture can elevate to their mood, and when their mood is better, they treat others better. This ripple effect continues. Questions vihue. And you started it to just be sharing our little happiness. Sometimes people think, when he become very successful, he who post questions view, when he have a lot of money, then he will share happiness with others. But happiness doesn't require money, it requires willingness. Questions vihue. Ask my end word is free. Or the your seat or someone in the bus is free. Listening patiently to our friend is free. Post questions vihue. And yet, small acts of mean dans an expensive day up has. Let me share our story. Once our young man was feeling very low. Post questions vihue. He had problems at work, tension at home, and he felt like nobody cared. That's why when he went to our shop. Post questions vihue. The shopkeeper simply smiled warmly and said, it's nice to see you tozai. That one sense changed his mood. He later said, post questions vihue. We was on the edge of swing up, but that kindness reminded me there's still goodness in the world. Questions vihue. Pirasao, we never know how powerful our shared happiness can be. Sometimes it can literally save our life. Post questions vi hue. And it's not only about helping strangers. Even in our families, happiness grows when we share it. Post questions vi hue. Many households feel filled with stress because as everyone is tired and nobody takes time to appreciate each other. Post questions vi hue. But what if you decide every zai to share on a word encouragement, on a word of appreciation? We post questions vi hue. On a word love with your family members. The whole atmosphere of the home would change. Question vi hue. Think of a mother who says cooks food for her children. She might be tired, but when her child says, "Urasao, thank you, mom," vi hue post questions vi hue. This meal is delicious. Urasao, her lights up. Happiness was shared and in multiplied. Te child ate food. Post questions vi hue. But te mother ate happiness. Now let's flip the perspective. What happens when you don't share happiness? It shrinks. Question vi hue post questions vi hue. Imagine you achieved something big at work but kept it all inside, but you thought nobody would care. Slowly te fades. Tui hu vi hue post questions vi hue. But when you share it, your parents, with your friends, with your love becomes our celebration. Even something small. Questions vi hue. Like completing our project or finishing our workout feels bigger when you tell someone and they cheer for you. Questions vi hue. Sharing is what turns moments into memories. Our practical Zyli example. Many of us use social media every Zai. Questions where we scroll endlessly, comparing ourselves with others and feel unhappy. But what if you use the same platform to share happiness? Questions where post something uplifting, compliment someone, or message our friend just tosai we appreciate you. Post questions where instead of being our consumer of stress, you become our distributor joy. And when you zve, you always receive back. Post questions where sometime in ways you don't expect. It's also important to understand that sharing happiness doesn't mean ignore your own struggles. Questions where you don't have to pretend everything is perfect. In fact, sometimes sharing your smile even in difficulty is the most powerful. Questions where it shows others that strength and positivity are possible even in hard times. And strangely, questions where the act of lifting someone else while you're low let me share simple but powerful stories. Questions where Arman once decided he was also on a small act of kindness every day. On a zai, he saw our street cleaner working in the hotel soon. Questions where he went up to him and said, "Urasao, thank you for keeping our streets clean. Because of you, we can't live in our better city." Post questions where Urasao, the cleaner, was shocked nobody had ever appreciate him be. Hesmal stood taller and continued his work with pride. Questions where that man later said, "Urasao, with tiny shared happiness, it came back to me 100 times stronger." Urasao, that's their magic. Tui post questions where happiness multiplies when shared. It's like a boomerang, you throw it ward, and it comes back. And temoza you zve, temoza you have. Hue post questions where unlike money, unlike possessions, happiness is te on a treasure that increases temoza you spend it. So ask yourself, you post questions where how can you share happiness to ozai? It's be forgiving someone. My beds be encouraging our colleague. Hue post questions my beds be making someone aloud. My bed simply being present with it our loved honor. Te form does matter, te spirit does. Post questions where at the end the zai, life is not measured by how much happiness we keep, but by how much we spread. Post questions where you might be able to solve every problem in the world, but you can't bring light into on a person's life to zai. Question where and if each of us did that, the world would be brighter beyond imagination. So don't hold your happiness hostage. Post questions where don't wait for the perfect time. Share it now, share it or share it with everyone you meet. Because when you share happiness, post questions where you don't just double it, you create a chain reaction that can transform the world around you. And in the process, questions where you discover that your own heart becomes fuller, lighter, and endlessly gioiera puella.